Hi everyone, and thank you for inviting me along to talk to you all. My name is Nicola Matthews, and I'm the Head of Consumer, Micro and Small Business at the Bank of New Zealand. Yes, obviously it has been a very interesting year, like no other that any of us have ever experienced before. And with that has come some market conditions and impacts on New Zealanders that we obviously could never have anticipated. Like all of you, banks have had to manage with unexpected changes to how we operate literally overnight and how we support and help our customers differently, and how we turn up for the market. So, what we came across was, how do we manage with no branches and almost an entire workforce that we now have to have working from home, and also unprecedented customer demand to talk to us pretty quickly after we went into our first lockdown, and wanting to know how we can support them, especially those that were pretty significantly impacted, either through employment or the industry that they were in, but also, we had customers mid-flight purchasing homes or building houses or planning to build houses, and what was it that we could do as a bank to support them during, I guess what was a very anxious time for a lot of people. So just from a bank's perspective, just to kind of give you some context, we obviously closed all our branches with 2 days notice for our bankers and our customers. And like lots of you just kind of had to think about what were we going to do and how were we going to do it differently. So, we went from went to a 30 to 40% increase in our call volume literally overnight into our 0800 numbers. And that continues to this day. So the way that our customers are interacting with us and wanting to talk to us is significantly different today to what it was back in February and March. And which is really interesting in terms of as a business, how do we line up to support that? And obviously most importantly was how we needed to band together to help our customers get through COVID. As I mentioned, with industry and employment prospects literally disappearing overnight for some industries. So we did obviously have to work really closely with the government and the Reserve Bank and the many regulators that we have that work alongside the banks to see how we could best support New Zealanders through this. And we had to look at what were some of the options, what did we need to change, and how could we change our systems and processes, and also a lot of the rules that we're governed by to be able to help our customers through this, especially those that were borrowing money from us or needing to borrow more money from us. It also meant a significant and rapid change to how our customers interacted with us, and also our customers and businesses interacted with each other, especially around how payments were made. So we went literally from people depositing money in branches and cash, to literally cash becoming not a thing overnight, and demand for sort of online banking and contactless payments and cards becoming obviously by far the preferred method of transacting. And how did we support our customers and our businesses to make that happen really quickly as well. So just for some context for you, from a BNZ perspective around sort of home owners and home people that have home loans with us. So just kind of over the first literally look, it was the first couple of months of COVID, but a majority of these conversations literally happened in the first 2 weeks after going into lockdown 4. But just for some context, we had around 6,000 customers take up deferrals with us on their home loans, so stop their principal and interest repayments, and as you know, you can do this for a period of up to 6 months. 22,000 customers moved their loans onto an interest-only period, just to ease the burden of paying principal over that time, especially if income had been lost or had been significantly impacted. And also we had a significant number of customers, like in the tens of thousands, reduce their repayments significantly just to kind of get to see them through. At our peak, we had over 2,000 customers needing home loan assistance from us per day that literally did not call us the day before just because of the sudden impact and sort of serious nature of the impact literally overnight. And it was a bit of a challenge for us as a business to, how did we have a workforce that had never worked from home, our branch teams and our contact centre teams suddenly needing to work from home, be out of the office, and actually pick up more and more customer inquiry and customer support conversations than they've ever had. So it was a very intense period, but also an amazing period to see bankers having great conversations with our customers every day, and to be able to kind of come through this and look back and say we've supported this many customers, to be able to cope and to manage through COVID, which has obviously been a pretty stressful time for a lot of people. So great news on the COVID side. I guess from a kind of home loan deferral, etc. perspective, that around 85% of our customers that have moved off a deferral period or has had a deferral period expire have actually gone back to full repayments or kind of reduced the level of impact on themselves by going to interest only as well. So I guess that's a really positive story that people are kind of I guess easing their way out of this, and hopefully for the majority will come right. What's also interesting is we do have a number of customers that are in industries that are significantly impacted and will be for quite some time, and they're making decisions off their own bat really around what they need to do, and and a few of them have kind of proactively sold their properties and actually cashed up to be able to kind of see them through this period. So I guess it's a good thing that people are coming to that conclusion themselves and working with us as a bank around what does that look like, and how does that work best for them, and then how do they invest that money, and what do they do with that to see them through this wee period. So as you know, just kind of final piece on the COVID side, the extended home loan deferral option has been extended. It was due to finish actually next week on the 30th of September. And our customers can now access, I guess, COVID support for home loans, or extended COVID support for home loans up until the 31st of March 2021. And beyond this period, our regulators want us to, I guess, take a bit of a closer view on ability to service debt and repay debt longer term, and work with our customers around what that means for them, so that that they're in a better position at the end of the day from a medium to kind of longer term scenario. Just a little bit later, one of my colleagues, Amy, will touch on support for businesses and small businesses in particular as a result of COVID, as opposed to the home loan side that I've just been talking about. So the performance of the housing market post level 4 lockdown has actually exceeded the predictions of many. We've got strong levels of buyer inquiry, we've got low levels of stock, especially in some locations, and actually some record median prices. Banks and brokers alike, we're actually flat out with customer inquiry and activity, especially in the home loan space, and that's really positive for for New Zealanders and people looking to get into a new home or invest, or investment properties, or looking to build. So we're putting this down to a combo of things. So we've obviously got low interest rates and predicted to go lower over the coming sort of 12 to 18 months. As I'm sure you're all aware, we have a lot of expats returning to New Zealand. So the brain gain instead of the brain drain. So a lot of professionals coming back, looking to buy, and that's certainly inflating the market. The government has removed the loan to value ratio requirements as well, so that has eased, although you may see some sort of banks having internal settings around where they're comfortable at, and just making sure that we're kind of supporting customers in the right way, and not putting them in a situation, because there potentially is still some volatility in the market to come, and there has been some commentary around, still a 5 to 10% drop off in certain spots. And the other thing is low supply of dwellings, so that's demand supply obviously impacts on the prices. So as I've already mentioned, the wage subsidy scheme has kept more people in employment. And also the mortgage deferral relief has kind of removed some forced sale situations as well. As I said before, we are seeing some homeowners opting to sell of their own accord, however, especially those that don't see an immediate return to work type of industries, such as those in tourism and airline industries, etc. I know it's a hard decision to make, but often it is the right one. Also, another trend we're seeing is with lockdown and the inability to travel overseas, that people have a bit more cash for those that are still working, and we are seeing a big increase in homeowners undertaking renovations, which is hopefully flowing through to all of our builders and tradies out there, and obviously a lot approaching banks to apply for top-ups to be able to do that as well. So that's good news in terms of productivity and growth for our economy. So just a few stats according to the latest Real Estate Institute of New Zealand data, just around how prices are holding up. So median house price for New Zealand, excluding Auckland, increased by 14.2% to 570,000, which is up from 500,000 a year ago, so 70k up sort of year on year. The Auckland median house price increased by 16% to 950,000, which was up from 819,000 12 months ago, which is fairly significant. There are a number of regions, including Northland, Waikato, Manawatu, Taranaki, Canterbury, Otago and Southland, also record median prices during August as well. And Nelson was up 40% year on year, with some large increases as well in Southland, Hawke's Bay, Wellington and Northland. REINZ also mentioned 4 regions that saw an annual decrease in sales volumes. Gisborne was down 31.5%. Marlborough at 10%, and then there was also small decreases in volume of sales for the West Coast and Otago as well. So post-lockdown and as expected, given the tourism industry impacts, Queenstown long-term rental rates have significantly reduced rental accommodation that was especially previously rented on a short-term basis, and those are being added into the market for sale. So people are kind of, I guess, catching up there a bit. Values here are estimated to have fallen between 5 and 7% post-lockdown, but for many commentators, this is better than what was expected originally. We may still see a bit of movement to come down there, but hopefully we get lots of New Zealanders going and spending their hard-earned dollars down in Queenstown and in Rotorua and all those top of the south and Hawke's Bay, everywhere that's nice to travel and get away to, I guess, especially as we come out the back end of winter and into summer. And Wanaka is also experiencing good levels of buyer inquiry as well, which is good. I think New Zealanders looking to buy in those expats coming back. So the BNZ is fully open to supporting our customers to buy homes or renovate or build their dream home. Of course, as I mentioned before, we're flat out in terms of talking to customers and customers being really active in the property market, or or looking to build, or as I also mentioned, looking to renovate. During COVID, banks were taking a little bit, sort of somewhat of a watch and see view. Unprecedented times during lockdown and a lot of uncertainty. And what we don't want to do is end up putting customers in a worse situation, or not being able to meet repayments, or to be able to do what is best for them, kind of ultimately. But as I've already mentioned, the market has held up stronger than expected, as has employment for many of our homeowners and buyers. So just a couple of things to touch on here. So during lockdown periods, all our conditional approvals for existing houses under construction or turnkey applications were honoured, which was really important to remove stress on our customers during what was a super highly uncertain time, and also to provide certainty to builders that were supporting them and obviously relying on the work and the commitments that have been made to build or to renovate for these customers. As we move more into living in a world with COVID, there's quite a number of factors that we look at when we're lending, especially for construction or our larger renovations or turnkey, labour only, fixed price, etc. And some of these have been impacted slightly due to COVID, but not really. And when I talk you through them, you'll see these are things that we consider at any time. And our job is to make a really sound and solid assessment alongside the customer around helping them to achieve their goals and dreams, and but equally not put them into a situation that is going to make them worse off, or in the medium to longer term, or even increase kind of financial stress at any point either. So we're really careful. A lot of our settings and our policies are for that reason. So some of the things that we look at when assessing each application for lending, and I'm not going to go into exact detail because it differs for every customer, but I wanted to give you a bit of a guide for the things we look at, especially as it relates to, as I say, building and houses under construction, etc. So the first is the area and the location of the build. So is it a known subdivision? What's the strength of the local market? What's it looking like into the future? Just to make sure, saleability for the customer and equity protection, etc. So we also look at our local knowledge around the building company and the builder, the reputation, the experience in the industry. Either whether it's a national company or a local community, a more local builder or a, in the community. And do builders or developers have a relationship with the BNZ? What do we know about them? And I guess reputation, because at the end of the day we want our customers to be building great, safe, quality houses, as I'm sure you all do as well. A good deposit, so with genuine savings, or that especially for a first home buyer, that that you can evidence that that the customer has discipline in being able to save and put money away, or obviously the alternate is existing equity in an existing property that has been gathered over the years, and the customer has a solid track record with us, or in fact any bank. So the type of building contract the customer is looking to enter into, so is it, especially from a loan to value perspective and cost overruns, etc. So, is it labour only? Is it fixed price, all inclusive? Is it turnkey? And then we obviously, work with the customer around, I guess loan to value ratios and things like that when it comes down to each of those different types of contracts that a customer can consider. And And probably to us the most important one, all of these are very important, but you know, the ability for a customer or someone to be able to repay their debt, or not repay their debt, but to service their debt, and to not put themselves in a position where they're struggling or going week to week, you know, worrying about repaying their home loan. So, you know, we obviously look at especially, you know, due to COVID, and we look at the stability of employment, the industry, you know, working with the customer to understand, you know, kind of longevity of employment, etc., etc. And that's really important. And that's not because we necessarily want to say no, but we need to make sure that the customer is making a decision, and a really well-informed decision around, you know, entering into what is a pretty significant commitment, as you all know, when it comes to taking out a home loan to build a property. So also kind of another thing that we've done during COVID, and kind of something we've been thinking about for a while, is we've moved all our home loan conversations for customers that are wanting to build and take a home loan with us to build, not renovate, that we make sure that we put them with our most experienced lenders in the bank, just to make sure that they're getting the best advice and guidance possible with their loan requirements, and kind of guiding them through the building process as well, because obviously it's a little bit more complicated than just simply buying a property and moving in. There's, you know, a few more considerations in there. So you know, I think it's a great idea that, you know, our most experienced lenders are supporting, you know, our collective customers at the end of the day through that process, and you know, that can support and kind of guide along the way. So probably a big call out as well is, you know, if we do have any potential clients or existing clients uncertain about how to approach their lending situation, you know, whether it's to apply for a new loan, or they're mid-flight with their build, or they're yet to build, you know, but they've, you know, signed a contract, etc. You know, even if they're talking to you, you know, and there's any uncertainty, or they're not sure what this means for them, or they need some guidance, you know, it's really, really important for them to just pick up the phone to talk to their bank and their banker. You know, that is our job. That is what we're there to do, to help, you know, I guess, you know, put people's mind at ease, and to guide them through the process, and work through things, and, you know, help them achieve what it is that they need to achieve. And, you know, we couldn't sort of more strongly advocate for that. And so, you know, you guys will all see customers that, you know, and some will share with you, some may not, but, you know, please, if you do see customers, you know, a bit unsure, or even before the process or during the process, please just get them to reach out to their bank. Yeah, we're pretty nice to deal with. So look, that's the end from me, and I think we will now be moving on to my colleague Amy, who will be talking through support for small businesses and small business owners, and which could include the likes of yourselves around, you know, support during COVID, and also other tools and support options that we at the BNZ provide as well. So thank you for your time.